Hi guys, I hope you all are doing well. Today we're going to continue on in this unit. We're going to keep using Burlington English, and today we're going to do some listening practice and look at a little bit of vocabulary, and then I have a couple of announcements to make, a few reminders. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be in Burlington English, so let me go ahead and share my screen with you. There we go. All right. Right now, we are still in the same unit. We're in that diversity unit, but today we're going to look at something a little bit different. So we're going to look at comparing. So we've been doing this. I just want to look at the word specifically. So if I say that we are comparing something, what does that word compare mean? So what does it mean to compare? Okay. Good, good. So to compare something means you are taking two things and finding what is different and what is the same between them. So if you compare things, you're finding things that are the same and things that are different. So similarities and differences between things. So in the case of this unit, we are looking at your native country or your home country and the United States. So when you think about your home country and the United States, do you think of them as more similar or more different? Probably it's a mix of things. There might be some things that are similar and there might be some things that are different. Now, I think usually when we think about comparing, we think of more things that are different than similar. But I want you to think for a minute and just think about what is one thing that is different and one thing that is similar. Okay, if you want to take some more time, you can always pause the video and think of those two things, one that is similar and one that is different. But if you've already thought about that, that is fine. There are usually lots of examples. You can talk about holidays that are different, holidays that are the same. You can talk about just the way you live life usually looks a little bit different in different places. We are going to do a listening now, and they are talking specifically about healthcare. So, what does this word healthcare mean? When you hear the word healthcare, what do you think of? Now, usually when we think of healthcare, we think about going to a hospital or going to see a doctor or getting medicine or treatment for some sort of medical issue. So healthcare is talking about medicine or going to the doctor or going to the hospital when you need it. So the first time we listen to this presentation, I just want you to listen. I don't want you to try to answer any of these questions yet. I just want you to think, what is the main idea and what is the presentation about? All right, so let's take a listen for the first time. What is the presentation about? What is the main idea?
Hi, my name's Lucia. My native country is Guatemala in Central America. I was born in Guatemala City, the capital and the biggest city in Guatemala. Guatemala is a beautiful country with volcanoes, mountainous areas, and beaches. The official language is Spanish, but many people speak local languages. I'd like to compare the healthcare systems in Guatemala and in the U.S. Both Guatemala and the U.S. have public and private healthcare systems. In Guatemala, most people use the public healthcare system because private healthcare is expensive. In the U.S., many people use private healthcare because their employers pay for it. In Guatemala and in the U.S., it isn't always easy for people in rural areas to get good healthcare.
All right, so what was this presentation about? So it talked a little bit about Guatemala, about what the country was like, some facts about the country. And then it also talked about healthcare. It talked about Guatemala healthcare and United States healthcare. There were two types of healthcare that they talked about. What were the two types that you heard? Okay, so we talked about private healthcare and public healthcare. So, public and private healthcare. Now, what does it mean for something to be public or for something to be private? Okay, you might be thinking about public and private schools. That's one way we talk about public and private. So, public means that that it is funded or it gets money from the government. So, public schools get money from the government, and individuals do not have to pay to send their children to school. So it is free for people, and the money comes from the government. So in public health care, the individual people do not have to pay for health care. The government will pay for the hospitals, and people can go for free or for very low costs. And then private healthcare, just like private schools where the individuals have to pay to send their children to that school, private healthcare means that individuals have to pay for healthcare. So if you go to the hospital, you have to pay to go to the hospital. So if you think about your experience in your home country, does your home country have private or public health care? Okay. And what about here in the US? Is it private or public health care? It's mostly private health care. Most people have private health care. They have insurance through their job, or sometimes people can get it through the government as well. All right, we're going to listen to this a couple more times, at least one more time. And we want to answer these questions. So I'm going to read the question. I want you to repeat it. So, number 1, where is Guatemala? Good. Number 2, what does the country look like? Number 3, what languages do people there speak? So here, there means Guatemala. So what languages do people in Guatemala speak? And number 4, why do many people in the US use private healthcare? So why does the US use private healthcare? Okay, good. And then here are the options for answers. We have their employers pay for it, in rural areas, Spanish and local languages, Spanish and Portuguese, Central America. It is beautiful with volcanoes, mountains, and beaches, and South America. So we're going to listen again, and I want you to answer these questions.
Hi, my name's Lucia. My native country is Guatemala in Central America. I was born in Guatemala City, the capital and the biggest city in Guatemala. Guatemala is a beautiful country with volcanoes, mountainous areas, and beaches. The official language is Spanish, but many people speak local languages. I'd like to compare the healthcare systems in Guatemala and in the US. Both Guatemala and the US have public and private healthcare systems. In Guatemala, most people use the public healthcare system because private healthcare is expensive. In the US, many people use private healthcare because their employers pay for it. In Guatemala and in the US, It isn't always easy for people in rural areas to get good health care.
All right. If you want to listen to it again, you can move the video back and listen to it as many times as you need to answer those questions. So when you are done, when you have listened to it enough times and you've answered all of these questions, come back to this point. So let's go over the answers. Question 1, where is Guatemala? Right. So it is in Central America. So we talked about how Central America is between North America and South America. It is this little strip between Mexico and Colombia, and that is where we find Guatemala. It's very small on the map, but it's right there, the little purple dot. Good, good. Number 2 says, what does the country look like? Good, so it says it is beautiful with volcanoes, mountains, and beaches. Now, what is a volcano? You may not have heard this word before. That is okay. It is like a mountain. So it's like a mountain, but at the top of the mountain, instead of it just being rock, there is an explosion. So there's fire and lava and smoke. So that is a volcano. The United States does not have very many volcanoes. There are volcanoes in Hawaii. So if you go to Hawaii, there you can look down and there is molten rock and fire, and those are volcanoes. Does your home country have volcanoes? Okay. Some areas have them, some areas do not. Oh goodness. All right. The next question, number 3. What languages do people there speak? Right, so in the presentation we heard they speak Spanish and local languages. So they said that the official language was Spanish. The official language is the language that they will use in government, in schools, in court. So for example, the official language of the United States is English. So schools will be in English, court will be in English, the government will be in English. But then there are local languages, or languages that are spoken in different areas. So the United States does not have many local languages. There are languages in like the upper part of Alaska that are local, that are different from English, or in Hawaii, there's a Hawaiian language that is not English, but they are not the official language. So English is the official language, and then some groups of people in different areas speak another language. In your home country, what is the official language? There might be more than one. Okay, and then do people speak local languages in your home country? Okay, good. Good, and then number 4 says, why do many people in the US use private health care? What did you choose? Let's check. So their employers pay for it. So that ER means it's the people they work for. So their company pays for it usually. So when you work for someone and they give you benefits, that employer is paying for part of your insurance. And then you can get insurance through your company. Good. Good, good, good. Let's look at one last question. So we did not know this question before we listened. So let's see if you just know the answer. So number 5 says, where in the US is it sometimes hard to get good health care? This was at the very end of the presentation. It is okay if you did not hear it. We were not listening for it. So the correct answer is in rural areas. Repeat this word after me, rural. It's hard to say. So, rural, rural. It's very hard to say, so don't worry if it's difficult. Rural just means you do not live in a city. So a rural area would be the countryside. Someone who is a farmer lives in a rural area. Now, if you live in Lexington, you do not live in a rural area. You live in a city. So this is saying if you do not live in a city, it can be difficult to get good health care. All right, good job, guys. I have one announcement to share with you. So I've talked about this already, but if you have not already come into my office hours, I need you to come in and fill out some paperwork. So my office hours this week are on Tuesday, 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, on Wednesday, 11 to 12 and 1 to 2, and then also on Thursday from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So if you come in, it will only take about 30 minutes. I just need you to fill out some paperwork, sign some papers, and if you have any questions, you can ask them during that time. Those of you that have already come in, thank you so much. I appreciate it. You are good to go. And if you have not, just let me know when you are planning to come in. Now, if you do not want to come into school, I totally understand that. That is okay. Just send me a message with your email address, and I will email you the papers to fill out, and then you can print them out and fill them out and send them back to me. Okay, just let me know, and that way we can make sure that you are registered, that we have all the correct information, and that on August 17th, when we start the new semester, you will be good to go. All right, if you have any questions about that, please let me know. Now, for your homework, I want you to do some work in Burlington English. So if you have not used Burlington English very much, this is something I want you to try. It is really helpful. It's a good program and tool to have so that you can be practicing English outside of the classroom, and we are going to be using it more in class this semester. So I want you to get comfortable with it. Today for homework, I want you to work on the student lessons. So I'm going to share my screen again and show you what I mean. So if you go to Burlington English, after you log in, you're going to see a lot of different tiles. And I want you to click on Courses. We are in English in America, Intermediate. And here where it says Student Lessons, this is where you are going to be looking. And in this unit, Unit 3, under Diversity, we are going to be looking at number 2 this week. So last week, your homework was number 1. If you did not work on that, you can work on it again this week. And looking at number 2, there are all of these different activities to do that work with the vocabulary, that practice your listening and your spelling. So this one is loading. So practice your listening, and then you would type the word. It has some extra listening practice as well as some reading practice here. Good, good. So there's lots of different things to be practicing with this. There are all 9 activities for this week. So if you have time to do all of them, great. If you only have time to do a few of them, that is okay too. But I want you to try to do as much as you can. Practice with Burlington English, get comfortable with it. If it's something that you are uncomfortable using, I totally understand, but I want you to try it now before we get into the semester so I can answer as many questions as I can now. I am going to be sending another video that is more step-by-step instructions on how to get to the student lessons both on the computer and on your phone with Burlington English. So if you're not sure how to get there, I know that was kind of fast. I'm going to send you another video that shows you the step-by-step way to get to the student lesson for homework. All right, guys. If you have any questions about the homework or about office hours, please just send me a message. And otherwise, I will see you soon. All right. Have a good day, guys.